This is Veterans Chronicles. I am talking with Petty Officer First Class Fame J. Academia.
Yes, ma'am.
He was a veteran of the Merchant Marines and
Yes.
eventually joined the U.S. Navy. He served during the end of World War II, served in Korea, and also served in Vietnam.
Thank you.
Mr. Academia, thank you for joining me today.
I appreciate for
Yeah.
inviting me today.
Of course. Let's start at the beginning. Where were you born and raised?
I was born in the Philippine Islands, April 29, 1928, and I studied my high school in Baguio City, junior high school, before I joined the Navy.
Oh wow. When did your family move to the United States?
I came to the United States first. I was when I got out from the Merchant Marine, they sent me to San Diego for my boot camp training in the Navy. So after graduation from the Navy, I was sent to Annapolis to continue my education as my rate will give me more uh, knowledge of my rate to be in the Navy. So they sent me to uh, Bainbridge, uh, Bainbridge training school for future Navy to go aboard ship.
Is there a legacy of service in your family? Did other people in your family serve in the military?
During that time, I was still single
Okay.
when I came to the United States because I enlisted in the Philippine Islands. Then they sent me to California, San Diego for military training, boot camp training.
What inspired you to join the Merchant Marines?
Well, before I joined the Navy, I joined the Merchant Marine first because my brother told me, let's go join the military. And I'll join the army and you join the, whatever you join, go. It's up to you to look for more advantage for you to work with the Merchant Marine because that's the only vacancy during that time. So I did work in the, apply for Merchant Marine that time. So the military in Port Area, Manila, because I was down there to join the army instead of join the whatever military that they put me. I will be able to. I'll be very glad to join. So
So you joined in the Philippines?
yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you remember when the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor?
Yes.
What are your memories from that?
Well, I was still very young that time because I was studying elementary school during the Japanese occupation. So after my intermediate, in, after my intermediate in in the junior school, I graduated to be going to higher education, in the Philippines during that time. So my brother, my brother-in-law asked me if I can stay with him in Baguio City because my mother passed away when I was a little boy. Now they took me to Camp John Hay in the mountain part of the Philippines, recreation part of the Philippine Islands. It's a capital of the Philippines as a recreational area. Yeah. So they told me to stay there with them during the war. So I did.
And how old were you when you joined the Merchant Marines?
I was 18 years old. 18 years old. So, okay, I told my sister that I'm quitting high school because my brother is inviting me to join the military because he went ahead of me. He went boot camp training in the Philippine Islands. And when he was in the training, he told me that he encouraged me to join the military, any part of the military, it's okay, he told me. So I joined the Merchant Marine because that's the only opening that time. My first duty, that the ship that I was supposed to go in, it was in dry dock to be overhauled. So my duty was, they gave me a piece of bucket and a screwdriver to open the bilges of the ship, and I have to clean all those oil and water mixed up together inside the bilges of the ship. That's my job, and I did that for almost 2 to 3 years. They gave me a screwdriver and hammer, and they told me to go to the engine room because my ship was under dry dock. So they told me to open all the metal plates, and I want you to clean those oil and water that was stuck in the bilges. I said, so I did. They gave me a screwdriver. I cleaned all the need to be cleaned, all the water and oil. So I fill up my bucket, and every time I fill it up, I have to go up and throw it in a big tank, so they will not mix with the water in the bay. So that's what I did. So that was my first work as a merchant marine, but I was very young that time.
What are your memories during the occupation?
I have a memory of the occupation, sure. Okay. During the occupation, my father was a former mayor of our hometown. And the Japanese occupation forces in my hometown, they tried to get him as a mayor again. So my father said, I cannot do that. I have to be voted by the people to be a mayor again. And they told us to go to the municipal building. With me, I went with my father, so they interrogated my father in the municipal building. My father was, they tried to convince him to become a mayor, because there was no mayor in our hometown. So, and my father don't want it to be a mayor, so they punished him. They hit him in the head, the bottom of the breast, and all the way down, and kick him, anything. And when I tried to stand up and try to help my father, they beat me as well. They hit me in the head, my body, my stomach, all around my body, and even a star, appeared in my head because they hit me so hard, and I was very little boy at that time. So what I did, I was crying, and they don't stop until my father tried to admit to be a mayor, but he didn't try to be mayor again because he got to be voted by the people. So he didn't. So, and one of the general told the Japanese interrogator that we are a good people, so they leave us alone, and they sent it back home. But we were being punished so bad, by the Japanese, and a star coming out from my head of bitter punishment.
How long did it take you to recover from those wounds?
Oh, it took a long time because they hit me in my stomach, all over my body, plus all the bottom of my feet. It took me a long time because there's so many pain in my body, and even blood coming out from my mouth. But I was 7 to 8 years old that time. And I was trying to defend my father because they're maltreating him so bad. So
how long did
my
it take
father,
him to recover?
Say again.
How long did it take him to recover?
It took a long time, maybe about 3 to 4 years after I regained my body strength. Now, when I grew up a little bit longer, when I was, I think about 20 to 21 years old, I joined the military. When I got out from, when my ship went to Okinawa because they start war in Korea, so they sent my ship there, my civilian ship, to pull out all those stranded ship that was hit by the Japanese in Palau Island. So we have to remove all those commercial ship that was grounded in the reef, and we have to pull that ship out from the reef with a metal what do you call that, a chain, metal chain, in order
Anchor?
for the ship to get out from the reef.
Anchor?
Not anchor, a big kind of a cable.
Okay.
Cable. So we have to pull out all the ship that was stranded there because the United States Marine invaded that island and get rid of those Japanese invader in that island, Palau, in the Caroline Island. So that was my first battle that I encountered. Well, there are so many memories because I've seen all those jumping women from the reef try to get away from the invasion by the Americans. Japanese civilians that were, it was terrible to look at because they're in there, they jump on the cliff, so in order for the Americans not to be captured. Excuse me.
What was your reaction when the war was over and the Japanese surrendered?
Well, my reaction was, well, the war was started again in Korea, so they moved my ship to Okinawa to stay aboard that LSM 463 landing ship mechanized to load all military going to Busan perimeter because that Busan perimeter, the North Korean beat the South Korean army and they're all almost going to be driven out at sea by the North Koreans. So we were there delivering ammunition and tanks. Three times my ship went to Okinawa to pick up all those equipment to supply the troops in Busan perimeter into South Korea. General Douglas MacArthur invaded Incheon Harbor in order for the North Korean and Chinese were able not to move south. So they did do the job for the North Korean and the Chinese was driven to Yalu River during that time. Now the forces in Busan perimeter was secured for being saved by the General MacArthur landing in Incheon and drove all the Chinese and North Korean back up north.
Right, right. So after World War II,
Yes,
you joined the Navy.
yes.
What year do you join the Navy?
Okay, 1954.
Oh, okay. So during the Korean War,
Yeah,
you're still
I joined the Navy.
okay. So you're still in the Merchant Marines.
I was a merchant marine during that time, but in my record, they didn't put it in my record. I didn't even get paid for those months. I was in the Navy. I was in the merchant marine because I was I was a young boy, and I wonder why they didn't pay me anything at all.
Right, right. So you essentially saw a short transition from war in the Philippines during World War II to the war in Korea.
Okay.
Is that correct?
Yes. Okay. While I was in the Philippine Islands, the Japanese are still strugglers. So many in the mountains, and one of the Japanese soldiers was captured by the guerrilla, so he was sent to the capital and surrender his arms to President Marcos, if you remember that. So he did put all his armament to the president, surrender all the armaments to the president, and all the equipment and the rifle was just very. It was just brand new because they oil it with the coconut oil. They live in the mountains and they do anything that's why the equipment that they have was still mighty they can still use more by that time because of the equipment that they have been oiled by coconut oil. And they surrendered to the president, and the president admitted. And they sent that Japanese struggler back to Japan. The the wife of that struggler or the mother of that struggler came to Manila and bring them home to Japan. And it is very pathetic that the Japanese soldiers' equipment were still in good shape. Imagine that.
After the
5 years of the war, after the war, the equipment was still in good shape. Very, very able. They're able to, shoot it, no problem at all, because we have a lot of coconut oil and they use it for oiling those equipment. I told my sister, I cannot live with 7 children and your family. I told my sister got 7 kids, and I cannot live with a family because you have too many small children, and I like to go to Manila and look for I like to enlist in the army or navy, merchant marine, whatever the army wants me to do. I told him that. So she was crying. So, brother, don't go to Manila. She told me. I told her, I am going. God is with me. I told her that. So she was crying. She don't want me to go because I was only a little 17 to 18 years old. So I did. When I arrived in Manila, when I went to Manila, I rode in a Philippine bus. The name of the bus is Pantranco. That is transportation company. Pantranco, that means transportation company. So I went in there. The driver was very helpful to me because I was very young, and I just got out from high school. And I told him, when I arrive in Manila, I want you to tell me how to go to the port area because I wanted to go there. Yes, he told. So when we arrived in Manila, the big city, I don't even know where it is, where I was. So this is where Manila is. I want you to follow me, and I'll take you to the bus stop to go to port area, Manila. So I did. So I gave the driver, I think, 5 pesos for my fare to go to the port area because that's where the United States Army was during that time. So he told me, okay, I'll take you to the port area of Manila. Come with me, and I want you to ride in my jeep, he said. So I did. So I went there. So in about approximate 45 minutes, we arrived in port area, Manila. There are a lot of strugglers, Japanese strugglers during that time. So I was standing there for a while, for over 2 hours. I don't know where to go, but I know the sentry is there looking at me. So, and then suddenly he called me because I was standing there for almost 3 hours already. So he told me, come here, come here, with his fixed bayonet, a lot of Japanese strugglers in around the area of Manila that time. So he told me, what do you want for? I like to join the Navy, Army, Coast Guard, whatever. You can give me any kind of job, I said. Okay, don't you know that there are a lot of Japanese strugglers around the area? I don't know, sir. So he told me to come in. He's very nice, soldiers guarding the area with fixed bayonet because there's a lot of Japanese strugglers at that time. So I went inside the compound. I want you to stay here, and we will call Subic Bay. If there's any ship for you to go aboard that ship, they told me, and there was a tugboat that is in Troy Dock. So he told me to wait here, and I'll tell the colonel to call up Subic Bay, how they're doing about the tugboat that they're there. It's been dry dock, they said. So, okay, I will stay. And then they called the Subic Bay, in charge of the ship that was dry dock. That was my ship. So they told the colonel, it's not quite ready in about a week, they said. So they told me, your ship will be ready in about a week. So I want you to stay here in the provost marshal. I didn't even have anything to sleep, you know. They let me sleep in the couch in the guard area. And I am glad that the military Philippine scout that was in the assigned to that port area, they found out that I am just came out from high school and don't have anything to eat, and all their leftover food they bring it down to me and eat it. For 1 week they did that. So I did appreciate what they gave me some food to eat while I'm there waiting for my ship to be fixed. Okay, so after a week, here comes the news. Okay, Mr. Academia, your ship is ready. You can go to Subic Bay. Now I count my money. I still have 3-4 pesos in my hand. So it is enough for me to travel from Manila to Subic Bay. It takes about 4 to 5 hours to go there by bus. So I did. So when I arrived in Subic Bay, I don't even know where to go. So I arrived at the sentry before the gate. There's a sentry run by sentry guard,
Okay.
sailor in fixed bayonet because it's still wartime. So they told me, "Where are you going?" They told me. Well, I showed my paper. I'm going aboard the ship. I am supposed to go aboard the ship to be a shipmate, one of the crew member, I said. So, okay. They checked my paperwork coming from the military in Manila. Before they sent me to Subic Bay, they gave me a paperwork to show to the sentry of the base, naval base. So I did show the paperwork that they sent me. So, oh, you're going to be aboard that ship. So they told me to ride in a jeep. They told the driver to put me in the jeep and go to the pier where the ship was dry dock. So I went there by myself. So I was young, you know. I don't even know how ship looked like. So they put me in that ship, tugboat, about to be dry dock. They clean up the base, the inside of the engine, all the water in there, for me to do the job. So I did for about 2 weeks. That was my job. It was very hard, but you know, there's nothing I can do but to accept the job that they gave me. So I did. The guard, before I went to Subic Bay, the guard told me, "Don't you know, what are you doing there?" Because I'm standing, waiting for somebody to tell me to come inside. So I wanted to join the Army, Navy, whatever, Merchant Marine, whatever they want to put me, because wartime, very hard life in the island. So, okay, I want you to come inside and stay there and wait. The colonel is going to talk to you about your ship being dry docked in Subic Bay. So I did. I stayed there for 2 weeks waiting for my ship. My ship was not ready, so by the time my ship was ready, but when I was already in there, they put me already aboard that ship as a wiper to clean all the bilges of the ship. They gave me a piece of bucket to put all the oil and water together, dump it in a big tank of metal tank to put all the dirty water from the bilges of that ship. So put it there. This is where you put the water. They don't want me to put the water in the in the bay, but because it's gonna pollute all those ship that was all those destroyed that was back in there. We got a dozen of them, so that's what my job was. Put it in the bucket, all the dirt, all kind of dirt from the bilges of the ship, because my ship was about was in dry dock,
Okay.
ready for to pull up all those stranded ship in Palau Island and Southern Pacific Ocean. Palau Island is the place where the ship was stranded. It is a commercial ship loaded with tanks, ammunition, bombs, and everything like that going to South Korea. So we pulled that ship, and it was out from the reef. So after we pulled that ship, we gave the captain that the ship is ready for operation. I told them. The captain told the captain about that. So when we finished that job, we went again as far as southern part of the Pacific Ocean, looking for a stranded ship that was grounded during storm, whatever, and all the islands that was been occupied by Japan. There were a lot of stranded ships in that island. So we did work on that ship again. Now, when we finish our job, we have to go back to Manila. Everything was, our work was completely done. So, and the war in Korea broke out. So, my gosh, I don't know what day was the Korean War started.
June 25th,
Something like that, June 25 or 20.
1950.
Yeah, the Korean War started, so they moved me back to another ship, LSM 468, landing ship mechanized, going back aboard ship. So what we did is to transport, I was stationed in Okinawa, that ship was stationed in Okinawa. They sent crew for that ship to take that ship to Korea back and forth to load ammunition, because the United Nations forces during that time was beaten, they're all retreated to the close to the sea. Yeah, the troops of the United Nations was moved closer to the sea to be thrown out because the Chinese came in the war. So, and General Douglas MacArthur landed in Incheon Harbor to drove the North Korea, Chinese communists to their own boundary in China.
So what are you doing during this time?
Say again.
What are you doing during this time?
Where I am?
You're on the landing.
I was on that landing ship mechanized LSM. I was a crew member in there. Now, there was a war that, the Korean War was, a lot of Chinese soldiers surrendered to the United Nations. So one day, they notified our captain to that ship, LSM 463, that they have to use that ship again going to China, but it is too big. So they used my old ship, that tugboat, to put all those Chinese that don't want to fight. 130 Chinese in civilian clothes, they transferred to my ship at night time without a light. We were there to open the hatch for them. And then we told them to go, but first of all we have to give them a place to sleep, a place to drink water, a place to eat, and a place to sleep. They sleep in the bottom of the ship, and I'm very sure that they did, because all the Chinese came to my ship in civilian clothes. They didn't say anything at all, but we are there to guard them just in case they they do something different,
So you're guarding prisoners of war?
Second,
You were guarding prisoners of war?
yes,
What was
they're
that?
prisoners of war, but we, even though they're prisoners of war, we cannot trust them
Right.
because they come aboard my ship. How about if they try to kill all the crew members?
Right.
So
What was that task like?
Say?
What was that task like guarding the Chinese prisoners of war?
the hatch was open, but when we let them inside the compartment, we close the hatch so they cannot come out and kill all the crew members. So that's what we did, and they were all guarded. They didn't say anything. They were wearing civilian clothes, and one by one they go inside the portholes, inside the hatch of the ship, go inside the, I think three basemen. So they stay there, and we gave them food, water, a place to sleep, and place to take a shower. So we treat them very good. Now we have an order to take them to China. when that order was ordered by taking them to China at night time, about 2 days after they came aboard, we make sure that they have all the food that they eat, because we don't know how long are we going to travel to China. So we gave them enough food plus a place to go shower in the bottom of the ship. So we did that. Now, the following 2 days that they were aboard ship, we have an order to take them out at sea. We don't know where we are going. So we took them out at sea. The ship was not lighted. We don't have the light, only a small portion of the light in the back of the ship and forward of the ship. Two small light. So commercial ship will see us when we're traveling. Wow. So we did that. They told us not to bring identification. That means to say that if we are captured, they're gonna kill us all. If anything happened, if the Chinese communists find out that we're dumping Chinese people, that Chinese soldiers coming from Korea, we might be in trouble. The crew member will be in trouble. So we did. We hope that there's nothing, happening while we are docking the ship in their harbor in China. And thank God that when we finish the operation, we let them go at night time without a light, only a small portion of the ship.
Yeah.
So we let them go. I know it is China, mainland China.
So after the war in Korea,
Okay.
what did you do next? Where were you
Okay.
sent?
After the war in Korea, I went back to the Philippines because I went to Japan to enlist the United States Navy, but they don't want me to do that because Japan is not a part of the United States. Philippines is a part of the United States at that time, where just like Hawaii or Puerto Rico is equivalent to the people in the Philippines, because the United States took over that island during the 18th century when the Spanish Armada was defeated by Dewey. Remember that the Spanish ship that was guarding Manila Bay was beaten by the Armada Admiral Dewey that time.
When you think about your service and all the things you've seen,
Yeah.
what are you most proud of?
Well,
What are you most proud of?
I was proud for sharing my duty and my time in the United States government, but I did not get paid ever since I joined the Merchant Marine. I didn't get paid. I don't know what happened to my pay, but up to now I didn't get paid at all.
With you?
I was very impressed that nothing have happened to us during the trip to China, because if some Chinese government found out that we were there, I'm
Yeah.
sure they will kill us all.
Yeah.
That's why we didn't bring no identification with us.
Absolutely. Well, sir, thank you for your service and thank you for joining me here today.
Yes, ma'am.
I've been
It's my
talking-
pleasure. Thank you so much for allowing me to do this.
Sure. I've been talking with Petty Officer First Class Fame J. Academia.
Yes.
He's a veteran of the Merchant Marines and the U.S. Navy.
Yes,
This has
ma'am.
been Veterans Chronicles.
Thank you so much.